coast of Western Australia is an island that the First Nations people for generations had known as Wadjemup. In the 1600s, the Dutch stumbled across it and called it Rottnest. A short while later, the British claimed the region and called this island Rottnest. In the 1800s, it became a prison for Aboriginal men and boys. There were cramped living conditions, poor nutrition, brutalities, slave labour conditions. Many deaths occurred. It became the place where Australia has recorded the highest number of deaths in custody. Currently, Rottnest is a holiday destination, and the name Wadjemup is becoming more frequently used. However, the fact remains it is built on a place where many atrocities have occurred. I went to Rottnest for a holiday some time back and really enjoyed the land and the sea there. And I also learnt some of our Australian history of the treatment of the Indigenous people of this land. I was shocked at the new things I'd learned, and this painting is what evolved from that knowledge, that trip. I have a hope that this painting and others in the series will bring about a better knowledge and a better use of our history, to acknowledge those parts which maybe we'd rather forget and bury. I have a hope that by embracing all aspects of our history, the good, the bad and ugly, will lead to better relationships between all citizens of this continent of Australia. It uses symbols for that period, both at Wadjemup and in the broader Australian setting. The chains represent the chaining up of prisoners and other atrocities to keep them secure. The buildings were initially whitewashed from locally crushed, burnt seashells and was found to reflect too much light, to be too bright. So they put rusty iron in the lime mix, and that turned it a yellow, hence the yellow colouring of this painting, representing the forced or the slave labour that the prisoners were subjected to, often using harsh and cruel treatment to achieve the output required. The beautiful blue colouring of the seas are pretty as, but they represent the barriers which were placed on the prisoners, barriers that kept them separate from their family, their traditions and their lands. But perhaps the most exciting aspect to the trip that fired up this painting was summed up in the symbolism of the ball and chain to represent incarceration, the treatment of authority over the prisoner, the subjection. And I've used the ball and chain, although it was never used as far as I know in Western Australia or particularly in Wadjemup country. But I've used it to show the prisoner coming to Wadjemup. But the passion for the painting came at seeing the markings of the Quokka, the semblance they had of a ball and chain. And here they were, markings all over the island, and always will be. And I feel no matter whether we take up the challenge of this aspect of history, the Quokka will forever say, look, here is the history of the island. I love it. I don't want to go into specific details, both for Wadjemup or the rest of Australia from this period, but would encourage you to do research, read, become informed. That's what Wadjemup, this painting, means to me. And I'm often forced to wonder, have we really changed in our treatment of Indigenous peoples?